Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I just wanted to start off by saying that of course everyone is free to do whatever they want, to eat however they want. I'm not here to tell anyone what they should or shouldn't do, but I do think that there's a lot of misinformation out there that is being used to promote veganism. There are several claims that vegan activists make that are simply not true, and that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. My goal is to give you something to think about, to let you see the other side of the conversation if you're thinking about going vegan. But yeah, let's get into it. There are critical nutrients that we need that we cannot get from plants. Some of the nutrients we can't get from plants are things such as vitamin A in its active form, which is retinol. This is really important for the strength of our bones, our teeth, our skin, and our immune system. There's also DHA, which is a form of omega-3s, super important for our brains to function right. Then we have vitamin K2, there's vitamin B12, which I think most people know about. There's vitamin D3, and this is just to name a few. A lot of people do experience benefits when they are switching from a standard American diet to a more whole foods vegan diet. And of course, if you're cutting out processed food, you're gonna feel 1,000,000 times better. But this is only really a short-term solution. Once some of these vitamin stores start to deplete, your health is just gonna go downhill. And you may be questioning things such as vitamin A. You may say, oh, well, sweet potatoes have vitamin A, carrots have vitamin A. But these plants have vitamin A not in its active form, so our bodies have to convert them. And the amount converted is really, really small. So talking about vitamin A, most people convert less than 5% of that which they consume. For people with any disease, so anything, even obesity, diabetes, any autoimmune problems, they don't make this conversion at all. 0% is converted. The reason we can get vitamin A in its active form from animal foods is because these animals have already made the conversion for us. The same thing goes for DHA, which isn't found in plants, with the exception of certain types of algae. DHA is really high in salmon, salmon roe, tuna, other types of fatty fish, and the same thing goes. The fish have already made the conversions for us. So this means things such as flax seeds, chia seeds, walnuts, which are all promoted as being really high in omega-3s and good for your brain. You're really only getting half of what you need, and you're missing out on the other half entirely. Now, ALA, again, can be converted into DHA, but it's less than 5% that we can convert. And furthermore, a lot of these vitamins that I mentioned earlier are fat soluble, meaning they need to be consumed in the presence of fat in order to be absorbed. And if you look at most vegan what I eat in a days and meal plans, they are very low fat and very high in carbs. On paper, it may look like you're getting all your vitamins and minerals on a plant-based diet, but what your body is actually converting and actually absorbing is a different story. And you may just think, oh well, okay, I'll supplement. But there is a lot of research out there showing that supplementing is barely effective, if at all. We need to be getting these nutrients from whole foods and not consuming them in isolation. I'm sure you've read the headlines about animal agriculture and the environment. Cattle are responsible for more greenhouse gases than all of transportation. The main source of this claim is from a United Nations report that was published in 2006 called Livestock's Long Shadow. This paper is what the entire Cowspiracy movie was based off of. And in 2010, one of the lead scientists who was a part of this research came out and admitted that the comparison wasn't accurate, that they basically twisted the numbers and the whole paper was retracted. Even though it was completely retracted, vegan activists still use this as an argument. The reality is that in the US at least, animal agriculture accounts for around 2% of CO2 emissions and transportation is 27%. So going vegan does not have this huge positive impact on the environment as a lot of people are led to believe. If you are really concerned about your carbon footprint, there are many other things you can do that will have a bigger impact than going plant-based. The best thing you can do is to not have kids. You can also get rid of your car. And this one I thought was interesting. If you take one less overseas flight per year, you're having 3 times the positive environmental impact that going plant-based for a year would have. Now, you're probably thinking, I'm not gonna sacrifice having kids and I'm not gonna sacrifice my travel, but meat is something I can give up and at least I'll have a little bit of an impact. But just know that local, pasture-raised animals are having a positive benefit on the environment as well. Grass-fed cattle actually recycle CO2, they fertilize the soil through their manure, and all of this helps the soil hold more rainfall. And even for plants, you want to shop local and shop seasonal. If you're a vegan and you're eating bananas and avocados in the middle of winter, just stop for a minute and think how far those fruits had to travel to get to you. Think of the environmental impacts of that transport. And if you're eating several bananas a day or several avocados a day, yeah, that's all adding up. Shopping local, plant-based or not, is going to have a bigger environmental impact than just going plant-based alone. No food comes without death. For there to be life, there has to be death. Dead animals are what fertilizes the soil and allows the plants to grow and flourish. No matter what you are eating, there is always going to be death somewhere along the line. If your goal is only to save the cute domesticated animals and you're willing to do that to sacrifice your health, then yes, going vegan might achieve that. But that doesn't make your food death and even cruelty free. You wouldn't believe the number of mice that die every year from wheat farming. And I mention wheat because it is pretty much a staple in vegan diets. Every 5 years in Australia, wheat farms go through what is known as a mouse plague. It sounds a little bit ridiculous, but pretty much these mice just breed out of control until there are thousands and thousands on each hectare of land. Now, the farmers are left with a decision. They can either leave the mice and have their farm destroyed, not have a business anymore, or they can poison them. When they do these big poisonings, about 80% die. And that is only thinking about mice. There's also the rabbits, the reptiles, and the bugs. Now, before you comment down below saying that most of this wheat is going to feed cattle anyways, just know that in Australia, 70% of cattle is 100% grass-fed. Of the other 30%, they are mostly still fed grass and then just finished on grains. So if you're only eating grass-fed beef, that argument is pretty much disqualified. The claim meat causes cancer is thrown around a lot, and it's really frustrating because there is no solid evidence behind it. The link between meat and cancer is based on population studies, which can't prove anything. They don't take into account everything else that was being eaten along with the meat. They don't take into account other lifestyle factors like smoking. Pretty much the people who are eating a lot of meat are also consuming a lot of vegetable oil, a lot of refined grains, a lot of sugar. Now, I'm not gonna make a claim as bold as vegan diets lead to disease, but by default, they are setting you up for things such as type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes is characterized by high blood glucose, and what raises your blood glucose the most? Carbohydrates, and by a significant amount. Most vegan diets are very high in carbs. When you are eating carbs all the time, your blood sugar is always spiking, which means your insulin is always spiking, And when insulin is always high, that leads to insulin resistance, which leads to your blood sugar getting even higher, and that leads to type 2 diabetes. I don't think anyone's really gonna refute the claim that carbohydrates spike blood sugar the most. That's a pretty well-known fact, as is the fact that most vegan diets are high in carbohydrates. Deficiencies from the nutrients I mentioned before will also lead to disease. Now, I don't claim to have all the answers. I don't claim to know what the long-term solution is and for the entire earth. What I am speaking to is you as an individual doing the best that you can right now in this moment. As I said at the start of this video, my goal is just to make you think and to see both sides of the conversation. Let me know in the comments down below if you've went vegan before, what were your reasons for trying it, and what was your experience. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys.